the people's interest is very little. Peace is action. Peace is in our words. Peace is in our plans. You can plan war, but you can plan peace. So our appeal out there is, instead of planning war, let's plan peace. Instead of planning violent politics, playing violent politics, let's play peaceful politics. To all the politicians, that the moment you're playing violent politics, we'll lose respect for you. So for you to mobilize the masses, for you to have a party that has a following, you need to play peaceful politics. And peaceful politics can be played if the parties organize themselves and plan for peace, not for violence.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The National Parliament had ratified 4 agreements with the government of the United Arab Emirates in an extraordinary sitting held on Thursday. A civil society activist has questioned why the money collected by the National Revenue Authority does not appear in the form of service for citizens. The Minister of Roads and Bridges has warned that several international airlines are threatening to suspend their flights to Juba due to the safety and security concerns. These stories and more coming to you in this new bulletin with me, Diko. Now the news in details. The National Parliament has ratified 4 agreements with the government of the United Arab Emirates in an extraordinary sitting held on Thursday. The agreement include a memorandum of understanding, an exhibition of entry visa requirements, an agreement on air services between and beyond the 2 countries, an agreement on avoidance of double taxation and prevention of facial evasion, and betrayal on investment. Emmanuel Joseph Akile reports in the details.
The 4 agreements and memoranda of understanding were ratified in a single session. During the deliberations, some lawmakers opposed the ratification, saying the agreements do not serve the interests of the people and the government of South Sudan, but rather benefit the elites. Janet Aya Alex, a member of parliament from Morobo County of Central Equatoria State, SPLM, urged the line minister and team to thoroughly scrutinize the agreement to ensure that the country do not lose taxes.
I will still add my voice that really, much as we will pass this agreement, and the good news is that it has a period of 5 years. I think the ministry have to look into it critically to avoid the issue of losing the taxes. To be honest, we are on the disadvantaged side. However, I'm still emphasizing that it is the role of the minister and his second people who will have to look critically in order to see that we do not lose taxes based on this agreement.
Atem Garang of the SPLM in Jungle State expressed concerns that under the new agreement, South Sudan could lose approximately 80% of its non-oil revenue.
Our alternative, Right Honourable Speaker, is non-oil revenue, which is taxation. With this agreement, Right Honourable Speaker, South Sudan is going to lose almost 80% from non-tax, because Article 5 and Article 7 in this agreement is made it clearly. We know the bigger companies, they are based in Dubai. They are residents in Dubai. They are not here in South Sudan. Just South Sudan is the country of operation. The company must choose according to this agreement. I will pay my tax in Dubai because we signed avoidance on double taxation. The company will choose, okay, if I have a base in Dubai, I will go and pay my tax in Dubai. I will not pay in the country of operation, which is South Sudan. This thing will bring a lot of things, because our taxation here with East Africa is high a little bit. But in Dubai, they move from, they don't have challenges. They have a lot of businesses. So their taxation is low a little bit.
However, those in support argued that the agreements would serve both the government and the public. James Queth, representing constituency number 14 in Nasir County and a member of SPLM, said that South Sudan is a sovereign nation and retains the right to engage with any other country independently.
Our oil passes through Sudan, and if Sudan closes it, what are you going to do? We have to think of it. Number two, in Middle East, it is where terrorism originates. And when we open our doors for people coming from Emirates, the terrorists will come and organize their activities in Africa through our country. Therefore, also, the goods brought from Emirates, they don't manufacture them. The electronics, which are here in Juba, they are brought from Emirates through what is called suitcase businesses. And this one is like money laundering. We shouldn't allow that. And therefore, I'm suggesting that we reject this agreement.
According to Anthony Lino from constituency number 5 in Yambio, the new agreement will create opportunities for the country to engage with the international community.
This agreement are kind of the agreements that we need our ministries concerned to be bringing it in order to open up our country to the international community. Madam Speaker, I stand here on Regulation 113, page 85 of our Conduct of Business. Of course, this issue of the visa was not completed. They have not added other aspects of the passports, but we as Parliament, we can pass it in totality, but allow our ministry to take our observation and do the amendments and then bring it back to the House. It may not require actually a lot of debate. If, Madam Speaker, you can accept it.
After more than 3 hours of deliberations, Parliament ratified the agreements in the presence of the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Joseph Geng, the Minister of Finance and Planning, Athian Ding Athian, and the Minister of Trade, Joseph Mum. The Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Wek Mamer, and the Deputy Minister of Interior were also present.
With that, another news as well, a civil society activist has questioned why the money collected by the National Revenue Authority does not appear in the form of service for citizens. Lorraine raised the concern after the South Sudan Revenue Authority said it collected 956 billion South Sudanese pound in just under 8 months. This is the highest revenue ever recorded by the institution. While announcing the amount, Simon Akwaideng, the Commissioner General, said the entire revenue was sent to the Minister of Finance and Planning. However, who heads the South Sudan Democratic Engagement Monitoring and Evaluation Program, said the collection should translate into service such as roads and hospital for the people. She continued and said such amounts should be seen in changing people's lives in offering service. She spoke to iRadio on the Dawn Show this morning, and she happened to be saying this.
That gurush, where is it? When gurush? The figures will be talked about, but we don't see it in changing people's lives, in offering services. The tax is collected so that we have hospitals that can treat us. The tax is collected so that we have schools where our children can go. Roads are almost getting finished in Juba. You see everywhere is blocked and cement is being put on the road because the roads are eroded. Where is the money to be able to fix those roads? And if you look at all these aspects, then you ask yourself, what exactly is South Sudan doing with the money that we have? We had oil money, and now we are collecting more non-oil revenue. Where is the money going?
In another news, the Minister of Roads and Bridges has warned that several international airlines are threatening to suspend their flights to Juba due to safety and security concerns. Simon Majuk Majak made remarks during an extraordinary sitting of the Parliament on Thursday, where lawmakers ratify air service agreement between South Sudan and the United Arab Emirates. Majak recalled that South Sudanese travelers were once stranded for hours in Nairobi and Addis Ababa due to limited flights. He said that the government was then forced to sign a bilateral air service agreement with the regional and international airlines. After signing the agreement to allow flights by Emirates, Turkish Airlines, Egypt Air, Rwanda Air, and Ethiopian Air, the minister said that most of these companies are now threatening to stop operating at Juba International Airport. He said that the airlines cited safety concerns around the airport, including buildings areas near the runway and road diversion around the airport area.
We are working on the VAT bill. It's not a secret. The value-added tax bill. We contracted a consultant, and we are at about 85% into finishing the bill. It will be presented to the economic cluster, because the sale tax regime that you are implementing is a lazy one. It's a lazy regime. It cannot bring money. For our 2024-2025 budget, the sale tax only accrued 0.16 of total revenue that we collected. But in all the countries, including Burundi, everyone
we
is
have also
implementing the
by
VAT.
that time other airlines to come to South Sudan. Like when Uganda Air was grounded, was citizens in Entebbe were facing a lot of difficulties. So Uganda and Rwanda, South Sudan, they agreed to allow Air Rwanda to fly from Kigali, Entebbe, Juba, to and fro. The same, we did the same arrangement with Ethiopia. They fly from Addis, Juba, Entebbe. We also encourage Egypt Air to come to South Sudan, as well as Turkish Air. Most of these airlines now are threatening to suspend their operation to Juba Airport because of safety. So this agreement was well negotiated.
Meanwhile, an SPLM lawmaker has blamed high taxes at Juba International Airport for the suspension of Fly Dubai operations in South Sudan. James Lual said the airlines have stopped flying to Juba because of many charges imposed by authorities. He says South Sudan charges $35 for both arrival and departure under ASI code 00, while Kenya, Uganda and Ethiopia charge nothing. Lual added that passengers also pay $25 as a security fee, $30 for SSCAA departure, $6 for additional security, and $3 for landing. He also said that the price of Jet A1 fuel in South Sudan is $1.25 compared to $0.40 in Kenya and $0.60 in Uganda.
Code 00 departure, South Sudan is charging $35. Kenya is 0, Uganda is 0, Ethiopia is 0. ASI code 00 arrival, South Sudan is charging $35. The rest of the countries around us are zeros. There is security code N3 departure, South Sudan is charging $25. There is landing fees, $3. SSCAA departure, $30. Security fees is $6. For Jet A1, fuel cost is 1.25. In Kenya is 0.4. In Uganda is 0.6. All these charges actually made the ticket from here to fly Dubai to be 1,000. So the passengers, they leave from here to go to Uganda, and the travel from Uganda to Dubai only $600. So Fly Dubai, they found themselves that they don't have passengers to be carried. That is one. And they cannot reduce the ticket.
The MB further said also revealed that the Civil Aviation Authority recommended reducing the charges, but the National Revenue Authority refused to implement their recommendation. In another news as well, the Ministry of Wildlife says it has captured 2 private vehicles carrying more than 500 kilograms of wild meat along the Juba-Bor Highway between August 31st and September 1st. Charles Laku, the spokesperson for Ministry, tells iRadio in an exclusive interview on Thursday that the poachers are arrested at the entrance of Baninglo National Park. He said the suspects are in custody and under investigation.
On the 31st of August and 1st of September, we arrested 2 vehicles carrying bushmeat, and the total of meat arrested reached up to 500 kilograms of wild meat. This thing happened on the Juba-Bor Highway, just in the vicinity of Badingiro National Park. The culprits plus the vehicles have been driven to the National Ministry, and the culprits are under investigation.
Laku says poaching and illegal wildlife trade pose a serious risk to both conservation and public health.
This kind of trade is what we call illegal trade in wildlife resources. And this illicit trade is very dangerous, both to conservation and even to us humans. To conservation, it degrades the production of the animals, because the poachers, they don't mind whether the animal is pregnant or it's lactating or it's doing what, they just kill. Now to humans, there's what we call zoonotic diseases, which are transferred from animals to humans. So these animals, when they're killed, they don't even examine whether they are good for human consumption or not. So when they're brought to Juba, because of our hungry mobs, we just rush that, alhamgaba, so we buy, and those diseases are transferred to us. You go to the hospital, Elijah Amolo, the person will succumb to death, because even the medical people are not yet aware about those diseases.
Yes.
So my take on the public is that we are in a difficult moment. So we need to be aware that this wild game meat is not good for human consumption unless it is examined by vet doctors to ensure that the animal is good for human consumption.
He also calls on the public to support wildlife conservation, saying animals are not only a source of revenue but also part of the country's pride and heritage.
Yes.
All right, you can go to your last point.
Yeah, my last point is that I keep saying this, that conservation of wildlife is a collective responsibility. So every living human being, even including you, Diko, we need to conserve wildlife together.
Yes.
This wildlife, it is for the importance of our country. Other than the revenue part, it is for the pride of our grandchildren. If we kill all these animals, our grandchildren will find out. If our grandparents did what we are doing now, we would not even see what is called wildlife. So let us all be vigilant and we conserve the wildlife. We allow this wildlife to thrive. And then there'll be time that we give open hunting season where people go and hunt, we examine the animals, and people go and eat them.
And lastly, the government of Warab State said it will involve selected armed youth in the ongoing disarmament exercise as part of the state of emergency declared in June this year. According to Momer Bada, the State Minister of Information, about 100 armed youth will be selected from each community, and he said the youth will help monitor security, apprehend criminals, and collect illegal firearms from civilians peacefully. Momer said the youth will receive the training and military uniforms and firearms. They will later be interrogated into various security agency, and he spoke to iRadio from Kojok this morning, and he happened to be saying this.
During our tour, our peace tour in Greater Dawn, we as the government will propose to form a joint monitoring body that will ensure that all the criminals are apprehended over to the government and this body. So now we are forming those committees. This committee is consisting of armed youth from within communities. This is strong youth, the fighters themselves. We select the right people, good people from them. And this particular community, we select 100 so that we integrated them. This body will now collect the guns. This body will now offend the criminals. These are the things that we are now preparing as a government for the implementation of the peace agreement.
Momer said this initiative is not a new project but a part of the implementation of the state of emergency declared by the president. He said the government has changed its approach to avoid direct confrontation with armed civilians.
It is the same state of emergency declared by our president, but we also add in the technique, the approaching technique from us as a government. We say instead of going to them and fight with them and grab them from them by force, we have to go to them first. Let us go to them and talk to them. Tell them, hey, here is the mandate of the state of mind. What we are doing as a government, we need a gun from you. If they comply, if they voluntarily give us the gun, and that is okay. It's what we want at the end of the day. What we want from them as a government is the gun. It's the gun that they have in their hand is what we want from them. If they give it to us by saying a peaceful means, all right, fine, we welcome. This is what we want. Later on, if some of them refuse, this is where now we will use force.
Mamer says around 3,000 guns have been collected from civilians so far, but the government has not yet verified the figures.
In the rural area, around 3,000 guns are collected according to the report I collected from them. In which there is a report from the commission that around 700 were collected. That was last week, the last week, the report I had from them. And also from Soy North, from Soy East, and also from Soy South. So around 3,000, something like that time. But as a government, we did not go there to witness, so that we put it in the media. But it is a verbal report that or verbal message that they sent to me.
You're listening to iRadio News, and now the international news with my colleague Madrama James.
Thanks, my colleague Diko. Let's have a look at some of the stories making headlines across the globe. 8 workers on donkeys have delivered their first humanitarian supply to survivors of a landslide that reportedly killed hundreds of people in a remote mountain village in Sudan's western Darfur region. Heavy rains and flash flood that hit Tarsina village, triggering the disaster on Sunday, have continued, making it difficult to reach the affected families. Families in Tarsina have lost everything. It took our team more than a full day on a rocky, muddy and hilly route to reach this devastated community, said Francisco Lalino from aid agency Save the Children. Elsewhere, Zambia's former foreign minister Joseph Malanji has been sentenced to 4 years in prison with hard labor after being convicted of corruption. Malanji was found guilty on 7 accounts of acquiring properties and helicopters suspected to be the proceeds of crime, the state broadcaster reports. His co-accused, former Treasury Secretary Fredson Yamba, received a 3-year jail term for approving the transfer of more than 8 million to Zambia's diplomatic mission in Turkey without justifying the expenses. And finally, Russian President Vladimir Putin has rejected Western proposal for reassurance force in Ukraine the day after any ceasefire came into place following a Paris summit aimed at finalizing plans for security guarantees. French President Emmanuel Macron said 26 of Ukraine's allies had formally committed to deploying troops by land, sea or air to help provide security the moment fighting was brought to a halt. He did not detail any of the countries involved. These are some of the stories making headlines around Africa and beyond. Back to you, my colleague Diko Diandru.
Thank you so much, Madam James. And next, the sport news with Darlington Moses.
Thank you so much, Diko Andrew. In the world of sport, in World Cup 2026 qualification, South Sudan will face the Democratic Republic of Congo today in a crucial match, with Congo aiming to maintain top spot in the group, while South Sudan seeks to climb to 4th place. Meanwhile, Sudan takes on Senegal in a key clash to determine 2nd place, as both teams are currently tied on 12 points. In yesterday's World Cup qualifiers, Cameroon defeated Eswatini 3-0 and Algeria beats Botswana 3-1, while Ghana drew 1-1 with Chad. An emotional Lionel Messi scored twice for Argentina in what is expected to be his final competitive match on home soil, saying the moment was something he had dreamed of. Lautaro Martinez also scored as the host beat Venezuela 3-0 in World Cup qualification tournament in Buenos Aires. In Euro, Germany suffered a surprise defeat away to Slovakia in the opening World Cup qualifications in Bratislava. And in women football, London City Lionesses have made friends. International Grace Gayoro, the most expensive women's footballer in history, by paying 1.4 million euros to sign her from Paris Saint-Germain. The fee paid by the Women's Super League newcomer beats the 1.1 million euros Orlando Pride paid Tigres UANL to sign Mexico winger Lisbeth Ovalle last month. Gayoro, 28 years old, is London City's 16th permanent signing of a busy summer funded by wealthy American owner Michelle Kang. Former world champions Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather are set to compete in an exhibition's bout next year. The event will be put on by CSI Sports, Fight Sports, but details regarding the date, locations, broadcasters, and rules are yet to be announced. Tyson, 59 years old, is a former undisputed heavyweight champion, while Mayweather, 48 years old, retired undefeated after 50 fights, winning multiple titles across a number of weight classes. The fight is something neither the world nor I never thought would ever happen. However, boxing has entered a new era of the unpredictable, and this fight is as unpredictable as its targets, said Mr. Tyson. Thanks. This is all in the world of sport.
Thank you so much, Darlington Moses. With that being, ladies and gentlemen, we came to an end with our news, but let's remind ourselves with what had happened in the news today. The National Parliament has ratified a full agreement with the government of the United Arab Emirates in an extraordinary sitting held on Thursday. A civil society activist has questioned why the money collected by the National Revenue Authority does not appear in the form of service for citizens. And the Minister of Roads and Bridges have warned that several international airlines are threatening to suspend their flights to Juba due to safety and security. That's the end of iRadio News. If there is any story or event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870, and it's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba and like our Facebook page, which is iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan, and you can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at 1:30 the hour. I'm Diko Andrew. Thank you for listening.
Sounds of the Week on